Susie wants her daily bread. Danny just wants to stay well fed. No one here seems to have a clue. There ought to be someone I can sue. But there's not, and everyone's a waste when you got different tastes. And I'm so annoyed. All this place is void. It's good for nothing town. Just ain't no way out. It seems I just can't get away again today. Well, I've never been an optimist. It's hard to be with luck like this, and that way of thought will just get me caught in a long line of vision out most hope, and that line is drawn on a slippery slope among other things. And I know that no good can come of these things. Ain't got no love, ain't got no love, ain't got no love. I just ain't got no luck. 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 Met this girl, I tell you, she'll make you fall. Well, you should see her diamond eyes, I bet you she's seen it all. She told me she would meet me at the restaurant by Joe's drugstore. Here I've waited, never was seated, sucking dinner mints by the bar. I looked for a sign, but there was nothing. I should have seen this coming from her, 'cause bullshit's got such a recognizable scent. The only solace to be had is this dinner mint. I read it on the front page as the diner is about to close. Another crime, another bar.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Flexware's Collegiate iRacing College Cup Series, where tonight we're going racing once again from fabulous Las Vegas for our No Luck 200, presented by The Familiar Strange, celebrating the release of their debut album wherever you listen to music. It's time for our Ignition Zone pre-race show as we get you hyped for tonight's race by looking to last week's events. As I'm your host this evening, Zach Lindler, alongside Alex Gagnon, as always, in the booth. And Alex, a lot of things happened in last week. A couple of things that we got to talk about before we get into this week. But I am extremely excited for tonight's race at Vegas. It always puts on a fabulous show, and all of our drivers in the field are excited to get ready, excited to get out there on track.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we had quite the race last week at Montreal. I mean, a very different vibe last week than we're going to get here at Vegas. You know, Canadian road course, you know, Western United States Oval. Going to be about more different. But, you know, we're getting to that point in the season where every point matters. We're coming down to the last couple races of the regular season. And it's going to get to this point where if you don't get it done today, you've only got Phoenix and Bristol left in the regular season. Each track gets smaller from here. So if short track racing is not your specialty, tonight is the night where you need to go to make something happen.
Absolutely. And you nailed it. 2 races left in the regular season after tonight. So we've got tonight at Vegas, next week at Phoenix, and then our regular season championship race at Bristol Motor Speedway. So time is running out for these drivers inside the top 15 to lock themselves into the playoffs and potentially clinch that spot with a win into the playoffs in just 3 weeks' time. But looking at last week, a phenomenal race from Montreal. A lot of unknowns going into that race. It was the first international race in Cup Series history. It was the first time we've had 2 road courses in the Cup Series as well. Couple things we learned. Number one, Muhammad Alif is the guy to beat on the road courses. He swept both of them this year. He's definitely got momentum on his side and for Ball State. And number 2, we've got a brand new rivalry here in the CIL. Thomas Toomey from the University of Virginia versus Lucas Moody from Ball State University. These two have been going at it all season long. I believe that started off with an incident at Pocono, and then those two banging doors more than a few times at Montreal. Some heated words exchanged in the CIL Discord server afterwards. So that's definitely going to be, that's a couple things to keep your eyes out on tonight.
100%, yeah. You know, we've gotten far enough in the season where those little issues that you might have with another driver on track, you know, first time something happens, you might try and pass it off. Second time, you're like, man, that's getting really annoying. You know, after 7 races, it's like, all right, now that's been one too many times. I'm going to take care of something here before it sinks the rest of my season. So Vegas is an opportunity, not necessarily for payback, but, you know, when you're running on track, it is really easy to just get a little loose coming out of these corners. Most times unintentionally, and, you know, while there's no condoning binning a guy like we've seen the Cup Series have happen here a couple times at Las Vegas, I'm sure some drivers are certainly going to think about that and then think better of it. But tempers are starting to get a little fired up here in the CIL, and we'll see how that plays out on track. Angry drivers are fast drivers is the phrase I've always heard. So,
and an angry driver is someone that you don't want to be in front of, as well, as we've seen, like you said, a couple times here in the Flexware College Cup Series. But yeah, it all is going to boil down to Bristol at the last race of the season, the regular season, where we are going to cut to our top 10 drivers. All 4 of our drivers who have locked themselves in on points are Muhammad Alif from Ball State University, currently on top of the playoffs at the moment, tied with both Matthew Morton and Daniel Nanny at 2 wins apiece, sitting at the top of the playoff standings. And then Jake Cummings, the oddball driver with only 1 win to his name. We've had 4 different drivers win a race this season. Of course, Cummings taking the win at our season opener at Auto Club. But those are the only 4 drivers to have locked themselves into the playoffs at this point. A little look at our playoff picture right now. Zach DeWale, 24 points to the good. Clint Halterman, plus 21. Charles Wembley, plus 12. Jason Wallet, plus 10, having a good season for Drexel. Brandon Schulenberger, plus 5. And currently the last driver in on points is Drew Williams. But he is only 2 points above Ball State's Andrew Stagey, who's sitting in that 11th spot and is hungry for all the points he can get. On the outside looking in, Ball State's Andrew Stagey, -2. Ryan Whitlock, another one of Williams' OWR teammates, -15 to the good, or -15 to the cut line. Edwin Onofre having himself a phenomenal season as well, -21. Matthew Nordberg, -23. And Andrew Burrell from Clemson also sits 27 points away from that cut line. So still a lot of drivers in the hunt for those last few positions to point their way in. But it would be even sweeter if they could snatch that win tonight and lock themselves in.
You take a lot of the stress out of it by just picking up the victory here and not having to point your way in. And with so many people still in the hunt on the points, I mean, only 25 points back there, the 15th. I mean, a lot of guys who could make up a lot of ground tonight with a good run, or if one of the guys ahead of them has a bad night. So not leaving it up to chance is the best way to ensure that you'll make it. Although that is easier said than done. In a perfect world, if you get the win, you're going to be golden.
And a game of chance, I believe, is the last thing that our drivers would want here at Vegas, where they're all going to take a chance and roll the dice. Strategy, luck, everything, and all of that all entails how well you do at a track like this. Like you said, it's very slippery, especially since it's going to be a little warm out there on track today. But this is a very well-established track here in the Cup Series. It's so much fun. The drivers love it. It was one of the most highly requested tracks to come back onto the schedule this season. So it's going to be a fun race tonight.
Yeah, it really is. Vegas has always put on a good show with the CIL, and I have no doubt they're going to be doing more of that again tonight. One of those drivers who I'm sure will be looking to do some of that would be someone that we have an opportunity to talk to in just a minute here, that Clemson driver of Drew Williams. Currently sitting P10 in the points, but looking to get some breathing room tonight, I have no doubt.
Of course, yeah. How you guys doing?
Doing all right. Welcome to the Connection Zone pre-race show. How are you feeling tonight going into Vegas?
Honestly, I feel great. The last 3 weeks have been a huge struggle for us, but this is a track where I felt good. We had a really good shot to win last season here. This is always just a place we've run well, and looking at the attendance list with spring break, we've got some heavy hitters hitting the beaches this week, so I think this is a great opportunity for us to come swipe a win.
Yeah, always looking for that first win here in the next gen side of the College Cup Series. Of course, the Season 8 champion from last summer, when we ran our Throwback Cup Series in the Gen 4 cars. You had a lot of success there. But what really is playing into your advantage on this side is you've got strength in numbers. You've got so many of your Orange Wheel Racing teammates out there on track. And even when we were doing the rundown of the playoff standings after last week's race, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, just 4 Orange Wheel Racing drivers alone inside the top 15 in points.
Yeah, no, we've got the crowd, and I think at a track that's pseudo drafty like this, it'll definitely help a bit. And this is a track where, I mean, Orange Wheel Racing, just as an org, we felt really strong here. I think you're going to see all of us have pace, which isn't always the case week to week. I think we're going to be able to put multiple cars in the top 10, maybe a few guys in the top 5, and I think we can steal one here.
I mean, you have a really good opportunity to do so, I feel like. I mean, looking through the points with so few drivers locked into the playoffs, what is your mindset going into a race like this, knowing that, obviously a win can lock you in, but even just a good run could jump you several positions here with how tight everything is from 5th back on through 15th?
I mean, yeah, that is the goal, is to get enough points to get breathing room. I hate being on the cut here. I was on the cut last season with Jake Cummings going into Talladega. So I think just trying to maximize points here. I mean, I'd love to go for gold, but a P2 here would be fantastic. But it's all about minimizing risk, because on the other side, if we wreck out here for the 4th week in a row, then I'm going to be in a big hole, and I'm running out of races to fix that.
Well, we hope the odds play ever into your favor tonight. Best of luck out there, Drew. We know this is a track that you love very, very much. You love to race. Best of luck to you, and hopefully we'll talk to you here after the show. Thanks for joining us up in the booth.
Awesome. Thank you. Hope to see you guys in a bit.
That was Andrew Williams from Clemson University, Season 8 College Cup Series champion, as well as one of the front runners for that Orange Wheel Racing team headed by Clemson, the Clemson alumni squad. But they've got a really, really strong team put together, and they're just missing that last little piece to get the job done. But like he said, some of our front runners in the Cup Series, I'm not seeing on the entry list tonight. I don't see Muhammad Alif. I don't see Lucas Moody. Obviously, some of the Ball State guys are on spring break, as well as some other drivers throughout the field. So it's going to be a little bit of a slim field tonight and next week, but that means the competition is going to be ever so fiercer because you have that much better of a chance to snag that first win.
You really do. It's going to be an opportunity for a couple of drivers, I think, to really try and turn it on and take a win that they may not otherwise have the opportunity to do so if the full field was here tonight. We'll see that tonight at Vegas. We'll see that at Phoenix next week. And that puts a really interesting situation, a really interesting dynamic into this points race, where if you have drivers either missing this week or next week due to spring break plans, may not be there on the rig, that really just leaves Bristol in 2 weeks' time as the last race where we're expecting the full field before the playoffs. That could get really chaotic in a couple of weeks. But as for Vegas tonight, with so many cars that we are used to seeing up front not going to be there tonight, it really does create that interesting dynamic of who's going to be able to go out there and seize the opportunity that they might not otherwise have.
Yeah, and obviously some of our heavy hitters are in tonight's field. Like I see Matthew Morton, Drew Williams is in the list as well. Jason Wallet, Andrew Stagey, Ryan Whitlock still in the race tonight. But some of our other front runners off enjoying, like he said, the beaches of Miami or wherever they may be, apart from their sim race tonight. But that's also probably going to be the case next week and maybe even the week after that, as a lot of our schools are beginning their spring break cycles. But, when you're in Vegas, you got to think about the odds. And when there's less drivers in the field that are really dominating those top spots, your odds of a win are even greater. And so a lot of drivers are definitely going to take that opportunity to pounce on that tonight.
And as they should. I mean, you don't get too many opportunities in racing to go out there and win unless you are like the guy. So if you are not that car who's running up in the top 3, top 5 week in, week out, this could be a prime opportunity to go out and cement your status as one of the front runners, at least for tonight. Because with the current playoff format, it's a win and you're in sort of deal. So if you play your cards right, you pick up a victory here, you're locked in the rest of the way, or at least through the rest of the playoff round before the championship. And at that point, with only 10 drivers left, who knows what's going to happen. It's really interesting to see how this is going to play out tonight, because I think we're going to see a lot of faces battling at the front that we may not typically see there. And that's going to create, I feel like, some really interesting racing and some dynamics that we don't normally see up front, due to that uncomfortability of not necessarily knowing exactly how that guy around you runs if you don't see him where you normally run throughout the course of the race.
And that goes for back to front, front to back. If you're usually at the front and you're running at the back, it's almost a little bit more of a danger zone with the unpredictability of some of the slower drivers in the league. But if you're at the back and you find your way up towards the front, it's almost even more stressful than the other way around, because not only are you racing around some of the best drivers in the league, some of the best drivers in all of college sim racing, but you're also at the front. And that itself brings just a ton of pressure, a ton of stress. And the ones who are at the front are the ones who know how to handle that pressure. And if you're at the back, maybe not so much, but it's a good time to get out there and learn. So I think a lot of our drivers who are usually towards the middle ground of the field, back at the pack, are going to find themselves up inside the top 15, maybe even the top 10 for the first or second time this season. And we're going to see how that affects them. But I believe it has come time for us to draw our Ignition Zone pre-race show to a close. So we want to thank you all for tuning in, and we're going to take a short break, and then we will be right back in just a couple of minutes for tonight's No Luck 200 presented by The Familiar Strange, live from fabulous Las Vegas.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
There's nothing right that I can do. Love is blind, but I'm just blue. It's such a dangerous game to play. It's no charades and I've nothing to say. And I know that I'm just no good when it comes to these things. And I'm so annoyed, and I'm paranoid, almost overjoyed. Just managed to avoid it's you. I want it oh so bad, but I'm just not your ad. Every street leads to a dead end. You've learned nothing by being a friend. A bad friend's a bad lover too. It's so sad, it just might be true. And I know my judgment's just too good when it comes to these things. And I'm so annoyed, and I'm paranoid, almost overjoyed. Just managed to avoid it's you. I want it oh so bad, but you're just not where I'm at. And I'm so annoyed, all this place is void. It's good for nothing town, just ain't no way out. It seems I just can't get away again today. Susie wants her daily bread. Danny just wants to stay well fed. No one here seems to have a clue. There ought to be someone I can sue. But there's not, and everyone's a waste when you got different tastes. And I'm so annoyed, all this place is void. It's good for nothing town, just ain't no way out. It seems I just can't get away again today. Well, I've never been an optimist. It's hard to be with luck like this, and that way of thought will just get me caught in a long line of fishing out most hope, and that line is drawn on a slippery slope among other things. And I know that no good can come of these things. Ain't got no love, ain't got no love, ain't got no love. I just ain't got no love. 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 Met this girl, I tell you, she'll make you fall. Well, you should see her diamond eyes, I bet you she's seen it all. She told me she would meet me at the restaurant by Joe's drugstore. Here I've waited, never was seated. sucking dinner mints by the bar. I looked for a sign, but there was nothing. I should have seen this coming from her, 'cause bullshit's got such a recognizable scent. The only solace to be had is this dinner mint. I read it on the front page as the diner is about to close. Another crime, another bomb, another sinner, and the government blows. I used the napkin to wipe away what happened. Oh, but the stain stays easier than that. And I wonder, could I go undercover as someone who knows where it's at? I looked for a sign, but there was nothing. How can I catch the truth when it's running away? And they get the ratings operating for a profit, never stopping. Mind corruption, mass consumption, bullshit club. Don't give out a whole lot of hints. The only truth that I can find is these dinner mints. Well, my friend decided to drop by just to say hello. He made a chicken pot pie on my stove. The way it tasted, I didn't want to waste it, but that's not really why he came. Wanted to tell me he's unhealthy, unemployed and feeling lame. He looked for a sign, but there was nothing. He thought I might have something to help, 'cause where he lodged, he always dodged the good for nothing, always fussing, no relating, only hating landlord man. He can't even pay his rent. I said there's comfort to be had, here's a dinner mint. La, 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 la. I sit by the phone and think of that girl.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Collegiate iRacing League, where tonight we come to you from the luckiest track on the entire Flexware College Cup Series circuit, the virtual Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Our drivers will roll the dice in Vegas during tonight's aptly named No Luck 200, presented by The Familiar Strange, celebrating the release of their debut album. But all of our drivers want to hit the jackpot and score that win to lock themselves into the playoffs in just 3 weeks' time. It's been all Ball State for the last month in the Flexware College Cup Series, as last week Muhammad Alif completed his sweep of the road courses this season, and Daniel Nanny picked up both his first Cup win and at Pocono and became the Daytona 250 champion. Can anybody stand up to the so-called Great Wall of Ball and snatch their momentum away as we grace the threshold of the playoffs? Or will the boys in red continue to dominate and hold on to a sizable school lead? With 6 playoff spots remaining and 3 more opportunities to score your way in, it's anyone's game inside the top 15 in points, as our drivers will take a spin on the Wheel of Fortune to try and stay out of jeopardy. Hitting a whammy or the wall during your 133 laps around this 1.5-mile roulette wheel can seriously damage your odds of a jackpot win. Maybe some drivers will say, let's make a deal, or other drivers double daring someone to just try and pass them. We'll see wipeouts. We'll see family feuds. Maybe even we'll see some gambits. Who will drive the cash cab tonight, and who will be stuck in the chase? Hold your breath and roll. Welcome, everyone, to the No Luck 200 presented by The Familiar Strange from fabulous Las Vegas. This time with at least 75% less drain cover chaos, as we're your hosts for tonight, Zach Lindler alongside Alex Gagnon in the booth as always, and we're going to take you trackside for flag-to-flag coverage of tonight's event. Alex, this is going to be a super exciting race. I'm excited, the drivers are excited, and I'm sure everybody sitting at home watching is excited for this one as well.
And if they're not, they certainly should start doing so. I mean, Vegas always puts on a show here in the CIL. The last mile-and-a-half track here in the regular season. So if anyone's going to really want to break out the speed, now's the time to do it. And this race being aptly named the No Luck 200, it's going to take a lot more than luck to get the victory here tonight. 133 laps is going to be a lot easier said than done here tonight as we go to the Google Earth cam to take a look here deep in the desert at this track on the outskirts of Las Vegas, Nevada. Pretty simple tri-oval sort of track here in the middle of Nevada, but this track does not race all that simply. It is high speed with a lot of throttle control, but not a whole lot of brakes. So it's going to be high speed around this place, but it's going to be really easy to put yourself in danger. 20-degree banking in the corners, down to 9 degrees on the straightaways. Decent bit of change between the exits of the corners and those straightaways. And I think you're going to see a lot of cars, especially on older tires, have issues on corner exit when they put the power down a little too early.
Yeah, this track definitely rewards consistency because it is one of the slippier, more hard to drive on tracks in the College Cup Series, especially with that very hard to get on pit road. The drivers are definitely going to have their hands full tonight with these cars. A lot of horsepower under the hood and a very heavy car to get these machines 133 times around this roulette wheel of a racetrack. But a couple of things that we talked about before the start of the show. Ball State currently holding all the momentum right now. They've got 4 in a row for that school, but most of their drivers are on spring break right now. So some of our heavy hitters are not in the field tonight. So possibly an opportunity for some of our other drivers teetering towards the middle of the pack sometimes to reach up and snatch that win off a Hail Mary at the last minute to secure their way into the playoffs and really hit that jackpot. Also, some driver tensions and rivalries heating up as we get towards the end of the season. Tempers flaring after last week's race at Montreal is all going to lead up to the regular season finale at Bristol in just a couple weeks' time.
Yeah, certainly. It's only going to compound as the season goes on, as you saw the cars on screen there of what they'll be driving here tonight. This is going to be, I think, a really entertaining race, but it's also going to be a long race, so you can't put yourself in a bad position too early. If someone's got to run on you in the opening couple laps, it may not be worth trying to fight it just yet. You know, you've got a lot of time to make your way back up, so we can figure that out as it goes along. But it is time, I think, to take a quick look at what a qualifying lap looks like here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We'll be taking a look at the 124 of Nick Stockner and how he wheeled his machine around this mile-and-a-half oval.
And I know he's been looking for a really good qualifying lap. He's been excited about this track all season. Those Clemson guys love Las Vegas Motor Speedway, but you can see the heavy banking in turn 4 comes out onto a relatively flat front stretch, going all the way down to the bottom of the apron, cutting that track as much as you possibly can down the front stretch. About halfway up the track and entry into turn 1. Look how loose that car is, practically drifting through turns 1 and 2, not going all the way to the bottom, but washing almost all the way out to the wall down the back straightaway to set yourself up for turns 3 and 4. Once again, not all the way down to the bottom, staying about a half a car up off of that white line, washing out to the wall, coming off of turn 4 and diving back down below that single white line to complete the lap. And that was a flyer of a lap from Stockner. And once we get our starting grid and our qualifying results finalized, we'll take a look and see exactly where that 124 Milliken machine is going to start tonight.
Yeah, that'll be the question, but a lot of hungry drivers out here tonight. There is only, I believe, one car that has won a race this season that is in tonight's field, and that is Matthew Morton from Ohio State. But he hasn't won in over a month, so this really could be a a wild card kind of event to keep laying on the Las Vegas Buns here. It's just going to be one of those nights where it could be someone's name who we haven't talked about much at all this season to jump on top of it and pick up that first victory of the year. But let's take a look here at tonight's starting grid from the No Look 200. It is going to be a thrilling one, that's for sure. In our front row, it's going to be Clint Halterman from UNC Charlotte and the 79 of Ben Neller from Ball State. Could he keep this streak alive of 4 straight Ball State victories? Could he make it 5? Row 2, we've got Edwin Onofre from North Texas and Charles Wembley from Guilford College. In the third row, it's St. Clair College's Zach DeWale alongside Matt Morton from Ohio State, who's got 2 victories so far this season. Andrew Stagey rolling off in 7th alongside Ryan Whitlock from Alabama Huntsville in 8th. Both of those guys heavy into the points hunt right now. And in row 5, Brandon Schulenberger from Wingate University rolling off alongside Logan Smith from Auburn.
Nick Stockner is going to roll off P11 for Clemson University. We rode on board with him during qualifying. Sky Schreck will start to his outside in P12. Landon Velicky from Auburn University starts to the inside of Jason Wallet from Drexel. Row 8, Alex Hallinar to the inside of Jake Hall, Binghamton, and Clemson Universities, respectively there. Row 9, Lucas Moody from Ball State will start inside of Felix Caporale from East Carolina University. And Trevor Rizzo from Clemson and Ricky Paz from Valpo will round out our top 20.
Looking a little farther on back, a couple of Clemson Tigers there. Andrew Burrell and Drew Williams in row 11. Row 12, it'll be Baruch's Edward Sanchez and PCT's Dylan Godinez. And rounding out our field tonight in 25th, it'll be the Drexel machine of Timothy Wilms.
You know, Alex, we got a couple minutes before these cars take to their pace laps. What do you say we make you know what? We're in Vegas, and I think we're both gambling men. Let's go ahead and take our picks for tonight's race, and I'll defer to you to start.
All right, you know what? It's been the Great Wall of Ball the past month, and with the way he qualified on the front row there, I think he's going to continue with that sick one-off paint scheme for Vegas. Give me the 79 of Ben Neller.
I'm going to look all the way towards the back of the pack. We talked to him before the start of our show. He seemed very optimistic about tonight's race. I'm going to take that number 123 machine of Andrew Williams from Clemson University. I think he gets the job done tonight. He finally picks up his first next-gen Flexware College Cup Series race, and he's going to lock himself into the playoffs. I think he's going to do it. So the picks
he's
are in, the cars are rolling. He's got a lot of work to do, but there are 133 laps, 200 miles of racing to settle tonight's duel in the desert. The first of our desert races, I guess you could call it, as we head to Phoenix next week for, I believe that is our Leg Dog 150 presented by your school, Robert Morris. But before that, we've got 200 miles of racing tonight from Vegas. Take a chance, roll the dice, spin the wheel, do whatever you do when you go to Vegas. But make sure that your odds come out on top and you are the driver to take home the jackpot. Here we go, folks. Get out of your seats, get on your feet, and get ready to support your favorite driver as the pace truck makes the hard left onto pit road. Pole sitter Clint Halterman, the control car to the inside. It's a red stack of alumni. As they hit the restart zone, Barney throws the green, and we are racing at Vegas. And it was a great start indeed from all three of those alumni. Halterman, Onofre, and DeWale cars number 1, 2, and 3 on that bottom lane for the start of the race. They're currently sitting number 1, 2, and 3 on track, but Charles Wembley for Guilford College with a 3-wide move to take away both positions from those Ball State drivers to get up into the 4th spot.
Yeah, that Ball State line, particularly Ben Neller, had a bit of a tough go there. Didn't quite get the throttle down on the restart and fell back a couple of positions here. He's trying to hold on to the 5th spot over his teammate Andrew Stagey right now. Although qualifying on the front row, battling for 5th is not where you want to be only a couple laps into this race, especially as those front 4 cars are all single-filed and starting to try and pull away from this 2-wide action behind him. The 79 will clear his teammate and try and bring Brandon Schulenberger with him. But he'll settle into 5th place here, trying to undo the damage of that opening lap.
Jake Cummings, one of our heavy hitters here in the CIL, out this week. He is enjoying spring break as well. Or really vacation, I guess is what you call it as an alumni. But his teammate Brandon Schulenberger already putting in some work as he's running 6th at the moment. So good to see him up at the front of the field doing battle to try and get in that top 5. It's a Ball State sandwich right here as he's got Neller in front and Stagey behind.
That he does, but it's 3 wide just behind him. Matt Morton caught up 3 wide in a big pack of cars there. Now Logan Smith to the inside as Whitlock goes around the outside. That one car from Ohio State is getting eaten on both sides right now. There goes Hallinar on the outside. Sky Shrek looking to the inside. I mean, it just seemed like everyone was running east-west there as Matt Morton was falling back. Nowhere really to go for the one car. He'll settle into that bottom lane after falling out of the top 10. So the reigning Cup Series champion here for the Flexware College Cup Series, having a bit of a tough go in the early going, but to your point that you made in the pre-race show, this is a 133-lap race. He very much could be trying to save his stuff for a longer green flag run as we see some more 3-wide action behind him. Sky Shrek with Sanchez there, as well as another car who I can't actually make out from this angle.
It's Trevor Rizzo from Clemson University in that 06 car as he slides just a bit down the track, making contact with the 43.
More contact.
Already, fenders rubbing elbows out, and that is not what the 13 of Lucas Moody and the 123 of Williams want to see in front of them, as they are really biding their sweet time coming up through the field. I think a lot of these drivers are towards the back and the middle are taking their time, being very nice on these tires in the opening stint of this race. While some of these drivers up at the front of the field, they are either in the lead like Halterman, or they're wanting to get a taste of that lead and to try and stay up there as much as they can. So already we might be seeing some strategy develop up and down the field, especially when it comes to tire management and wear.
Yeah, and it's never too early to start thinking about how you can best position yourself for the next stop. I'm sure some of those drivers are probably already considering it. A lot of these drivers may have expected a wreck on lap 1. A bunch of guys on cold tires going into turn 1 can sometimes result in a bit of a mess, but everyone kept it all nice and clean that time around. So now you start settling in. Now you start trying to find your rhythm. And when you're in a pack like this, you see here with Drew Williams and Matt Morton battling there side by side, it is tough to necessarily find that rhythm that you want, because maybe you want to be running the line that is not accessible to you in that moment. And it becomes really tricky to try and figure out, all right, do I push here? Do I try and save? Do I fall back? Do I try and advance through positions while everyone's... contact there. The 13 of Lucas Moody and the 43 of Sky Shrek. More fender action between those two cars. The 43 finding some tussles out there all over the track. She's having quite the adventure so far. Doesn't seem like anyone's trying to give him room tonight.
Yeah, and you're seeing some of these cars drop all the way below the white line on the front stretch. That is okay. That's legal. Pretty much there's no such thing as track limits here in these 1.5 intermediate ovals. The only place that is in effect is in the super speedways. So you'll see a lot of drivers, they're either going to run about halfway up the front stretch or drop to the bottom, like you see a lot of these drivers do, to make the trip from turn 4 to turn 1 as short as possible, or even drop below that single white line to make it even shorter. But you're going to pay the price with your run into turn 1. You're not going to have as good of an entry. You're not going to be able to carry the speed that we've seen some of our drivers carry, especially off of that top line tonight. It's a two groove track, Las Vegas. You can run that bottom line about a half a car off of that white line, which is of course the shorter way around, or you can stay a little bit higher, which is going to be a little nicer on some older tires. I mean, you're going to get you got higher speed, and you're going to have more momentum coming down the straightaways as we cycle back up to the battle for the lead. Clint Halterman, these 3 alumni still going at it. Halterman, the leader at the moment. Edwin Onofre still trying to get around Zach DeWale. with Charles Wembley, Ben Neller, and Brandon Schulenberger all behind them waiting in tow.
Yeah, this little 6-car breakaway is really spread out from the rest of the field. But Edwin Onofre and Zach DeWale slugging it out for second place right now. You'd think that would give Halterman the opportunity to try and get away a little bit. That 077 really hasn't created too much separation, even with these two side by side. Onofre up top there in the 199, DeWale down low in the 519. Neither of these drivers locked into the playoffs just yet. Oh, almost maybe a bit of contact there between those two cars. They are really fighting hard for second place right now. Both of them want that win that would lock them into the playoffs. Both of them in very different situations in the points, though. Right now, DeWale in on points, just looking to try and add to that cushion. Edwin Onofre, though, a win could do numbers for him tonight.
Yeah, like we said at the top of the show, the only driver that is locked into the playoffs that is in the field tonight is that number 1 car of Matthew Morton, who has 2 wins to his name already this season. So everybody that's fighting for the lead right now, not only will they be fighting for the win, but they're fighting to get themselves locked into the playoffs. And if you're on the outside looking in, like Edwin Onofre, then that is huge for you. But if you're on the inside, then you want that win to just serve as a cushion, as peace of mind. So if you're Clint Halterman, Zach DeWale, or Charles Wembley, then you're definitely looking for that as well. Or if you're Brandon Schulenberger, who's not even in the top 15, this could be a Hail Mary victory for you and could really kickstart your championship hopes as we move into the final half of the season.
And you got to imagine Jake Cummings would love to see his teammate pick up a victory here and get 2 Wingate cars into the playoffs if he can get up there. Currently the 6th car of this 6-car breakaway, but he's fighting Neller for 6th there, trying to move up into the 5th spot. Actually will take that position away, so he'll move up into the top 5 for the first time this evening. Clinton Halterman's led every lap, but no lap has really been by all that much. He's got the 519 of Zach DeWale right on his back bumper right now, a car length gap the difference, as Edwin Onofre still trying to get that high side to work, but now he's battling the 37 of Wembley down the backstretch. This is the battle for 3rd as they're watching these leaders try and battle it out as well. No one's really gotten the run on the leader, Clint Halterman, just yet. Down on the bottom of your screen, you can see on your left, that's Zach DeWale. On your right, that's Edwin Onofre. These 2 cars 2nd and 3rd right now. You can see the concentration as they try and find their way to the front.
Yeah, I don't think either one of them have blinked since we started that onboard cam. I think Zach blinked right there, but you can see, look at the concentration on Edwin's face. He had a great run last week at Montreal, stole the 9th position in that race on the last lap with a phenomenal move in pretty much the last overtaking zone at Montreal. So he's got momentum on his side, and a solid finish today would do him even more wonders. But he is going to lose out on that 3rd position for the time being to Charles Wembley, who becomes the first student to crack the top 3 tonight. If you take a look at the cars, you see the different colored banners. Our 1-digit and 2-digit number cars with those blue windshield banners, those are our students. Those are our drivers who are currently enrolled in a post-secondary institution. And if you see the 3-digit numbers and the red banners, those are our alumni drivers. They are graduates. And fellow members of the Old Farts Club alongside me and Alex, who have graduated from college. But while they're fighting for position on track, they are also fighting for position with each other. So Charles Wembley, even though he's running 3rd at the moment, he is currently leading the alumni class in this race. And if the results stand as they will, or the student class, got that backwards. So if the results hold as they are, Charles Wembley will secure a huge points load for both himself and Guilford College in the student championship, as will Clint Halterman, our leader.
That he would. Clint Halterman's been out front for each of these opening 21 laps. He's done just enough to keep a car about a car length behind him to this point. You can see that gap back to the 519 right now. It's not a large one, but it is noticeable enough where he hasn't really been able to generate that run that he's been looking for. You can see on board there with Halterman. He has always been in the hunt this season, several podiums, typically in 3rd place. We've had the opportunity to talk to Halterman. He's still looking for that first victory of the season. This could be a statement victory that he's on his way to right now. Obviously, still a long way to go in this race, but things are looking good so far right now for the Niner Esports machine, as he's got a lot of open track in front of him. But, I mean, I'm looking at it. These cars up front, they're starting to put in a decent battle here as far as running each other for second, third, and fourth. But no one can seem to take that last little step to get up to the leader.
It's one thing to catch somebody. It's something else to go around them.
That it is. Speaking of going around them, the 124 of Nick Stockner has caught this group of 5 cars up front, and he's now looking to the inside of Onofre, trying to break into the top 5. He's been on a good surge here. He started outside the top 10 today, but he slowly worked his way up into the mix, and now is only a couple of positions from the lead.
Yeah, they were about a second. He was about a second and a half off of this top 6 group, leading that second pack for a few laps, but he has caught up and trying to go to work on the back, or at least to the inside of the 199. That is a battle for alumni position and position on track, and Stockner would love nothing more than to get to the front of this field and lead a couple laps, as well as put himself in a position to possibly win the race. Looking at his Clemson teammate, Drew Williams, who's back in 11th now. So Williams slowly but surely climbing the ladder, as Matthew Morton has leveled out to P14 at the moment.
Yeah, 25, soon to be 26 laps down here. Halterman and DeWale lead over Schulenberger, Wembley, and then Onofre and Stockner there. Ryan Whitlock has moved up a few spots as well. He's currently battling for 7th with Hallinar, Logan Smith, and Drew Williams in that top 10 mix as well. So already a lot of shuffling in that top group. Most notably, I think, though, third place car, Brandon Schulenberger in that 7 machine. Oh, contact there for the 199. Before we get to Schulenberger, the 199 in the wall, and I don't know if there was contact between him and the 124, but he certainly didn't do him any favors moving up the track there.
As far as what I saw, I think the 129 and the 199 were both going for a position there. 124 slid up into the 199, maybe sent it a little too deep in the corner. Those two made contact with the 199 of Onofre getting into the wall. He's going to lose out on that position for the time being, but you bet your dice as soon as he gets back up to the back bumper of that Stockner machine, there's going to be another fight for that position.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So Edwin Onofre trying to hold on here in the 6th spot. A little early still to be coming down pit road, but I imagine they might have a little bit of optional repairs they're going to try and buff out of that machine as well whenever they bring it down pit road for the first time today.
Yeah, just a couple scratches on the right side of that car.
Yeah, for sure. It is worth noting here in the Flexware College Cup Series that there are no fast repairs. So if your car does get damaged, you do need to bring it down pit road and spend the time to get that thing hammered out. So you got to be really careful with the positions that you find yourself in. And obviously, Onofre didn't ask for that. He was battling for a position. But either way, it's going to result in some time probably that's going to have to be spent on pit road getting that thing tuned back up. As now Hallinar and Drew Williams look to go by on the inside. Hallinar does, and now Williams is there on the scene as well. This is the battle for 6th, 7th, and 8th right now. But, I mean, I'm looking back up at that front group here. Brandon Schulenberger's got a lot of pace in that 7 machine. We've seen him slowly work his way through that top group, and now he's scored in 3rd place right on the back bumper of Zach DeWale looking for 2nd.
Yeah, I think these cars up at the front of the field are starting to burn through their tires a little bit. Those lap times are coming down slowly but surely. And some of these drivers who were towards the middle and back of the pack that were taking it easy are starting to catch up. So I think we're going to see a little bit of a pace differential come into play here, as Williams is now going to take away that 7th position. He's on a hell march up to the front of the field. So a couple of drivers to keep an eye on. Schulenberger, Stockner, Williams, as well as Logan Smith, who's cracked the top 10 for the first time tonight.
Well, yeah, he qualified right at the tail end of that top 10, but I'm pleasantly surprised to see that he's really holding pat in that spot. That 34 machine has really been pretty strong so far through practice and qualifying. Had a decent run to put it in the top 10 in 10th place there in quali, and has slowly worked his way up a couple more positions. And this is exactly what we're talking about when that pre-race show, when we were saying about we have some drivers who might be up there in the mix tonight that we don't normally see. You know, guys like the 124 of Stockner, like the 057 of Hallinar, like the 34 of Smith, you know. Just a couple of names who you don't typically see in that grouping. As you see right now, this is the battle on track for ninth. Ryan Whitlock going down low. He's got Matt Morton behind him as they're trying to close in here. Just ahead of them, Williams and Hallen are going at it with Logan Smith right on their tail as well. 3 cars all nose to tail as they make their way into turn 1. This is the battle for just outside the top 10, and I mean, everyone's fighting for those positions right now. They are all over each other.
And here comes all of those guys that we saw dropping towards the back of the pack. Matthew Morton right now on a march up to the front of the field. He's cracked the top 10 for the first time tonight, and he's got Ryan Whitlock right behind him. Edwin Onofre currently dropping out of the top 10 and at risk of losing some more positions. I think that was Edward Sanchez just behind him. Yes, that is. But Matthew Morton right now all over the back bumper of Drew Williams. They're going to go virtually 3 wide here as Morton drops to the bottom behind Smith. And here comes the battle now for these last couple positions in the top 10 as these drivers who were a little more conservative at the start of the race have now decided it's the halfway point of this first stint on tires. So now it's time to put the hammer down and use up those resources while you got them to get up to the front of the field by the time we eventually might see some green flag pit stops about halfway through this race.
It is also going to be key to see who has saved some tires, because we are definitely deep enough in this run now where if you did not save your tires in the early going, it's going to fall off as we see 3 cars all battling here. Williams, Hallinar, and Morton. Morton going to roll that inside line and just go right past both of them. That number 1 car up into P6. He fell out of the top 10 early, but has slowly marched his way back to the cusp of the top 5. Gets around Williams there as well as Smith and Hallinar. Hallinar may be in some trouble there on that outside lane. Everyone seems to be going low on him and then sliding up in front of him. We just saw Logan Smith do the same here as he'll take away that 8th spot. Hallinar back to 9th with Whitlock and Sanchez on his back bumper.
Morton 1.2 seconds back from DeWale at the moment, but that gap is coming down. So Morton dragging Williams with him up to a march inside the top 5, but as we have just passed the quarter way mark through this race, 36 laps complete, working on lap 37 of 133 in tonight's No Luck 200 presented by The Familiar Strange, celebrating the release of their debut album, Wherever You Listen to Music. I think it's time to start thinking about some pit strategies. So if producer Christian could give us the pit strategy rundown here that I've got written down in my notebook. I've got about 60 laps on this set of tires. There we go. So you see the race length, 200 miles, 133 laps. These drivers do have 4 sets of tires available that they can use over the course of the race if we see a couple cautions. But I think at this pace, this race might go green for the foreseeable future. And you see that fuel window at the bottom of the screen, 55 to 60 laps. So if these drivers save a little bit, they can split this race right in half, or maybe with the help of some cautions, split it in half. But once we see about lap 52, 53, I think we're going to see some drivers consider coming to pit road if they're banking on a late race caution. Or if they want to play the more aggressive route, they're going to try and save as much fuel and tire as they possibly can to stretch it to that lap 66, 67 halfway point.
That would certainly be an interesting strategy because, I mean, typically you go into a race of this length thinking, all right, well, certainly there'll be at least a caution that could make that strategy work if the timing falls the right way. But so far, so good as, whoa, Morton really sent it through the middle lane there. Almost caught the back bumper of the 124. Instead, he'll roll right around his outside. He'll take away that position, move up into 3rd, and now looks to dice up the 37 as well for 2nd. He'll dive to the inside here. Not a whole lot of room for either driver, and they'll remain side by side in this battle for 2nd place. The Ohio State Buckeye machine there of Matt Morton really has turned it on in the past 10 laps, and here he goes to the inside of Wembley. Going to try and slide up in front of the 37. He'll take that position away, and Matt Morton over the past couple laps has surged from the back half of the top 10 into 2nd place, and now has his eyes set on the back bumper of Clint Halterman, who as all this battling for 2nd on back has been taking place, has opened up his lead just a little bit to about 4 car lengths, but it's already starting to come down here as Matt Morton's starting to close in.
Yeah, we saw at the beginning of the race, it looked like Matt Morton was maybe just a little bit off the pace as he was dropping through the field at an alarming rate. but we we knew that he was saving for something big towards the end of this stint. So that car showing some incredible long run pace as he's now completely chopped away that gap for the lead, as he's going to try and make it to the back bumper of that Norm the Niner machine for Clint Halterman. He might have a pass set up here into turn one. Huge run for Morton down the front straightaway. Halterman goes low to block, throws a late block, switches lanes at the last second. These two going side by side, going to go side by side on exit. No, Halterman throws the block. Morton dives below. He's now alongside the 077 for the lead. And for the first time this race, we have a new leader. Matt Morton has taken the lead of this race on lap 43.
Yeah, really nice pass there from Matt Morton. He's done an incredible job to this point, saving his tires, and it really showed there with the pass around the 077. So here he goes down through turns 2 onto the backstretch. That gap already 2 car lengths opened up over the 077. And then it's a big jump back to third on back. But all those cars from third place through, I don't know, almost the back half of the top 10, they're all stuck on those guys right now. Wembley, Stockner, the Whale, all battling right now.
And Morton was dragging Drew Williams with him for the time being, but it looks like that 123 is going to level out at about 6th or 7th place as we see some of our drivers coming down pit road to get some service. Although Edwin Onofre with a slow stop at the moment. I see Sky Shrek has just come down pit road and slotted that car into the box. There's the 82 of Felix Caporale from East Carolina University, who is going to just slide it into his pit box. 4 fresh tires going on that car, and a couple of other takers down on the end of pit road.
Yeah, starting to become the start of that pit cycle that we were talking about a little bit earlier. It's on lap 46. They might be trying to cut this into a 2-stop race as opposed to trying to challenge it out for 1. Probably makes a bit more sense with the way this race is going. You see the 7 of Brandon Schulenberger pull down pit road there. He was one of those cars in that lead pack. A couple of those guys have come down pit road, although not the 2 leaders in Morton and Halterman. They have stayed out to this point, as you see Jason Wallet on pit road. Nick Stockner just leaving now, so a lot of shuffling right now throughout the field as green flag pit stops begin. Going to see some cars surge up into the top 10 by nature of their opponent's pitting, and then those cars on fresh tires, I'd imagine you'll see them blow right past those on the older tires. Be interesting to see who gets the advantage on those who came early down pit road versus later.
So now the question is, if you're Matt Morton and you're opening about you got 0.8 of a second on second place Clint Halterman, and looking at Moore knocking on the door of a 1 second lead, do you stay out for as long as you can on this set of tires, or do you come down pit road knowing that everybody behind you is going to be on quicker tires?
That really is the question. I accidentally just closed the screen I was watching the race on, so that's a bit of a bummer. But we do have the onboard here with Edward Sanchez from Baruch. He is right on the back bumper of Logan Smith. And this is the battle for P5 on track right now. We have had a few cars come down pit road, but both of these cars have been really fast here tonight. And this is a pretty good battle that's shaping up. You also got Drew Williams in there just ahead of both of them. So a 3-way battle for 4th, maybe a 4-car battle for 3rd if they can close up the back bumper of the Whale there. So a lot to see on track right now as far as action's concerned, although seeing might be a problem for some of these drivers. That onboard shot showed how bright the sun was coming off of turn 4. I mean, you just cannot see anything except the sun coming off that corner. And I wonder if that's going to make some people a little more nervous to try and make passes off of turn 4. And you can't really see where you're going or where anyone else might be.
It's right there. I think we see the 519 of Zach DeWale making his entrance to pit road. So that St. Clair car is going to come down and get his service stop on lap 50, now 51 of 133, almost 2/3 of the way through this No Luck 200 presented by the Familiar Strange. I'm interested to see the pace differential between these cars that have already come down pit road and gotten their service versus Matt Morton and Clint Halterman, some of our leaders. Morton has pulled out to a 1.4 second lead as there you see Drew Williams sliding on the pit road. He really got that thing sideways trying to get it slowed down to make pit road speed. Doesn't look like there's going to be any trouble for the time being for that 123 car. So that is the third place machine that is coming down pit road. So if you're Matt Morton and Clint Halterman, at this point, you're either hoping and praying for a caution, or you're going for the long shot. You're shooting the moon. That's called rolling the dice at Vegas.
Yeah, we'll see if it works out for him, but a lot of times at Vegas, it's the house that wins. So I'm not overly optimistic for his chances in that respect, but it's still far too early to tell. Only 53 laps gone on this 133 laps. So a lot's already happened, and yet we're barely a third of the way through this race. It's quite the test of mental and physical endurance for these drivers out here today. As you see people starting to get back on track here, everyone's starting to mold back into line, seeing where they're going to be. And it looks like a couple of these cars may have had some slower stops, and it's really starting to throw a lot of people out of sync.
There's the 37 of Charles Whibley coming down pit road. He's got his stop complete and is going to roll right back out on track. And the 98 of Jake Hall as well. He's come down pit road. He has just wrapped up his service. So both of those cars coming back out on track. They'll remerge into traffic. It'll be interesting to see where they cycle out, especially that 37 car. And the leader is coming down pit road. Matthew Morton has pulled the trigger, as does Clint Halterman. So our two leaders down pit road. Halterman's got a pretty sizable gap in front of him. It's about 1.5 seconds from him to Matthew Morton. Morton is going to go ahead and pull into his pit stall. Halterman, you can see that first box on pit road. The right side's coming up for both of those cars. This is going to be a really tight battle off of pit road. Who got cleaner into their box? Who's going to get cleaner out of their box? Who's going to win the race off of pit road? Halterman's right there, and Morton is down and away, and he is off of pit road by the time Halterman even gets going. So Matthew Morton will retain the lead for the time being, but where are Logan Smith, Edward Sanchez, and Dylan Godinez going to cycle out? It looks like Matthew Morton is going to cycle out to the lead. He will be just in front of Alex Hallinar at the moment.
While that was happening on pit road, there was contact coming off of turn 4 between the 76 of Jason Wallet and the 79 of Ben Neller. Both of those cars nearly ended up sideways. They both kept it forward on track, but it was a tense moment for both of them. And I don't think either driver was particularly pleased, if the radio chatter was to be believed. Both of them were a little concerned on what happened there, but they're both still rolling and in one piece. Right now being scored, Wallet scored 13th at the moment. Neller not as much, as we see Logan Smith also coming down pit road now. One of the last cars to do so there for Auburn. And that should just about recycle everybody with the exception of, I believe, Sanchez, Burl, and Godinez.
Dylan Godinez was just coming on the pit road as well. Burl has yet to pit. I don't believe Stockner has pitted, or was he one of the first to come down pit road? I can't remember.
I think Stockner was one of the first to come down pit road, so he's one of the ones who will kick off this this cycle here. But also Matt Morton, who's not too far behind him on far fresher tires, even just from the nature of the pit cycle. So I'd imagine that the Ohio State machine will have something for Stockner when he gets up to him.
And I believe Morton was right there, if the timing tower was to be believed. Stockner right now the leader after all these pit stops cycle out. He's got two cars ahead of him, Edward Sanchez and Clemson teammate Andrew Burl, who have yet to make their pit stops. But Stockner right now, there it is. He's got a rear view mirror full of Matt Morton and Clinton Halterman at the moment. So those two wildly different strategies at the start of the race between Morton and Halterman leaves them dead even on pace. Halterman is right there at the back bumper of Morton, but Stockner going to do everything he can to keep the lead of this race and walk off possibly his first victory in the CIL.
I do believe that's Zach DeWale who's on the back bumper of Morton right now.
Sorry,
Halterman,
that's DeWale.
I think, is outside the top 10, so Halterman has fallen back a little bit, but Zach DeWale has put himself in really good position here, glued to the back bumper of the 1 as they slowly creep up on the back bumper of the 124, and Stockner gets way low into the corner there. Interesting entrance into that corner, but that's going to let
That
Morton
was-
go right around the
Ooh.
outside. Tense moment there. Edward Sanchez was down on the apron, almost in the grass.
I think he was trying to come to pit road, and there was maybe some confusion with Stockner. But Stockner, man, one little mistake like that, and look how it annihilates his race, first to sixth in one corner, and that is going to leave Matthew Morton in the spot to re-inherit the lead once Sanchez comes down pit road. Zach DeWale just behind him. Ricky Paz for Valpo University. How about that car cracking the top 5 for the first time tonight? So we're going to take a look at that incident between Sanchez and Stockner.
Oh.
We saw Stockner go really low into
we were
turns
on
3 and 4.
We were on the back bumper cam of Stockner, but what he saw out the front of it was the 26 who completely checked up trying to get down the pit road. And Stockner, he's trying to get on the gas and just kept hitting the back of him. And the 26 ended up missing pit road because of it. So, I don't know exactly what happened. I think the 26 did try radioing in saying that he was coming down pit road that time by. But it must have been a bit of a miscommunication or something, because the 26 and the 124, very different approaches to how they tried going into that corner. And in the end, the 124 and the 26 both lost big time because of it.
And the 26 has made his way down pit road, which means that Matthew Morton is the race leader. We have completely cycled out after pit stops. Biggest winners right there are going to be Ricky Paz and Ryan Whitlock, as well as Alex Hallinar. They gained a ton of positions on pit road. I think Whitlock had just cracked the top 10. I don't even think Hallinar was in the top 10, nor was Paz when they came down pit road. So those pit crews get some extra rewards tonight, but we still have at least one more pit stop to go through for these drivers to make it to the end of the race.
Yeah, the big one for me, I think, is Ricky Paz. We hadn't said his name all night, and now here he is running for third place on the inside of Ryan Whitlock. That 81 UAH machine for Whitlock up high, Paz down low in that gold Valpo car. He'll slot back to fourth with now Nick Stockner trying to rebound from that earlier situation with Sanchez. He's trying to move up into third place here, or fourth place on the inside of Paz. Not sure if he'll be able to take away that position just yet. Maybe he got the nose ahead, but is definitely not clear yet. Matt Morton has a mirror full of both Zach DeWale and Ryan Whitlock right now. Whitlock in the hunt in the points race right now. A win could lock him in. That would be huge for the 81 season if he can get it done.
While we're in Vegas, I figured we'd do a couple more rounds of betting here in our little game of NASCAR Hold'em. But in round 2 of the picks, I would have gone with Ryan Whitlock as my dark horse pick. He was my dark horse pick last week, and he was going to be my pick this week. There's somebody right there who's quietly done super, super well the past couple of weeks in the Flexware College Cup Series. He's got momentum on his side, and this is a phenomenal run for him, as he's got more than a few teammates, more than a few Orange Wheel Racing teammates in Stockner and Williams running just behind him at the moment. So that strength comes in numbers, as well as Zach DeWale just ahead of him. So 4 Orange Wheel Racing drivers inside the top 10 right now, jockeying for the lead.
I think it's also worth noting, look at this battle for 4th through 8th. I mean, all of these guys are on top of each other, and Clint Halterman is back on the scene as well. All this battling has let the 077 slowly work his way back into the mix as well. He's on the back bumper of Paz right now. He's gotten around Hallinar, looking to the inside of the 19 now. Paz, the odd man out on that outside line. Everyone else went low, and everyone's kind of single filed out, trying to get as much draft as they can getting into these corners. Halterman now to the inside of Drew Williams, looking to take away that 5th place position. He is working his way back up to the front. He's led the most laps here today, trying to get back to the front and get around the one of Matt Morton. Still has some work to do, though. A few more cars, including a couple of Clemson teammates that he's battling right now. It's going to be a tough battle off of 4 here with Stockner, as both of those cars went way up toward that outside wall. Halterman will have the nose ahead for a second, though. Don't know if he'll be able to keep it there. The battle for 4th continues, as the green flag cycle here has gone the opening 70 laps.
Clint Halterman, man, where did he come from? He wasn't even in the battle just a few laps ago. In fact, we had completely written him off. We had completely written him off out of the top 10, and now he's about to take away the 3rd position from Ryan Whitlock. So that car is showing some extreme short runs pace at the moment, as he is able to take away that 3rd position from Ryan Whitlock, and he's got only Zach DeWale and Matthew Morton standing between him and the lead, where he has spent so much of tonight's race.
Yeah, and in between the 2 cars who have led laps tonight, you've got Zach DeWale, who's been in the top 5 all evening. Just needs that little extra bit to get there. Not sure what it's going to take for the 519 to make his way to the front here tonight, but he's been in position to try and get there basically every lap of this race, just looking for that one extra piece to get there and take away that final spot.
And
we're going to take a look at
Trevor Rizzo has bended. It looks like loose there in turns 3 and 4. Sideways on the front stretch, saves it down into the grass, gets back on the track. And it looks like it keeps it under him.
Oh,
goodness.
Something broke.
Something broke on that car when he came back on, but we stay green. Doesn't look like there was anybody behind him, so iRacing electing not to throw the caution there. But a hard hit for that 06 car, as it looks like something might have broken on that right front suspension when he came back on track after going through grass.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough one there. He's going to fall back, and he's almost certainly out of this race, I feel like, with how heavy that damage was. Is looking up front. Halterman's got around the whale, and now he's looking for the lead here, going through 1 and 2. He's running a lane lower than Morton. Morton taking that middle line that historically in the next-gen cars is really good for putting dirty air all over this track and making it really tough to get that final pass, but now he'll run low through 3 and 4. Halterman's going to try and pull right up to that back bumper off the corner. You can see him creep ever so closer with that little bit of draft help. That big niner right on the hood. You can see the whites of his eyes a little more clearly with each passing second.
Working on lap 75 of 133, officially beyond the halfway point in tonight's race. The No Luck 200 presented by the Familiar Strange, as you see the sunset off in the distance of turns 1 and 2. It is officially golden hour in the Flexware College Cup Series, and the sun is going to set on tonight's race sooner than you know. Clint Halterman trying to keep his chances alive at a win and locking himself into the playoffs with the win tonight. But Matthew Morton looking for his 2nd win of the season and looking to have a 4-way tie for the regular season championship, when we will crown a regular season champ in just 2 weeks at Bristol Motor Speedway. That would be a phenomenal ending to tonight's race, is to have a 4-wide championship, or 4-wide lead for the championship. But Halterman wants to break that, wants to shatter that into a million pieces and say, hey, I want to add my name into that, and I want to take that 5th lock-in spot into the playoffs.
Yeah, that, just unrelated, but that's a gorgeous sunset. Even in iRacing, I mean, that's pretty. But much to your point, a lot at stake for all of these drivers. I mean, you look at this top 5. Matt Morton's got a win, but he has not won in over a month. The reigning champ is really trying to get some more playoff points here before the postseason. And it's been easier said than done so far. So this could go a long way for him in that fight to repeat as champion. Clint Halterman looking for that first win of the season. Can he get it done here tonight? He's had several podiums and is in a really good spot in the points, but a win would take all doubt out of his mind. Same deal with Zach DeWale back there in 3rd. Him and Halterman are in the same position. But then you get the Drew Williams and Nick Stockner there in P4 and P5. Williams just barely on the cusp of making the playoffs right now. A win would take a lot of stress off of him. And then you've got the 124 of Stockner, who needs that win to try and make the postseason here. That would be a huge boost for him if he gets it done, as he's currently running in P5 at the moment. So all of these guys in the top 5 have very different stories on what's at stake for them here tonight. And Onofre nearly got the nose of that thing chopped off by the 077. That was really close. And he goes a lap down here, does Onofre. But it's been it's a lot of different stories all kind of mingling together here in this top 5. Everyone's fighting for something else here, but everyone has just as much of that drive and that desire to get their own goal accomplished here tonight at Vegas in the No Luck 200. And as we hit lap 81 of this 133 lap race, you got to start to wonder when these guys think about their second round of pit stops. You know you need to make one more, but do you try and short pit this stint to try and have the freshest tires for the back part of the race? Or do you try and stretch it out as long as possible in the hopes of a caution? There is a lot of question marks still that have not had an answer yet as we close in on 50 laps to go.
Well, I'm thinking back to our to what we learned. I guess what we learned after that first pit stop. We had a lot of drivers try the undercut. They came in really, really early. We had a lot of drivers try the overcut, like Matt Morton, where they stayed out super long and got everything they could out of that set of tires. And it really didn't make that much of a difference. So it's up to these drivers' personal preference. Do they want the speed to start the run, or do they want to make this set last as long as they can? And like you said, hope for a caution that'll play into their favor to get on those newer tires and make a run for the win at the end. But right now, this battle heating up for the 11th position. Jason Wallet to the inside of Sky Shrek. Wallet defending that 11th position, because now both of these drivers with an opportunity to crack into the top 10. As you can see, Logan Smith from Auburn just ahead of them. But back to what you said, a lot of different stories inside the top 5 here. I'm finding myself pulling for all of these drivers. Obviously, Matthew Morton, the reigning series champion, very successful stock car driver here in the CIL. He had a phenomenal season last time around. You want to see that success continue. And then you've got Clint Halterman and Zach DeWale, who both want to return to the top step of the Flexware College Cup Series. I believe Halterman with just one win to his name, and that came at Watkins Glen a couple of seasons ago after a barnstormer of a finish versus his teammate Jared Kaler. And Zach DeWale with 2 title fights that went down to the last few laps in the race and ultimately came out on the short end of both of those. He would love to get back in victory lane tonight. And then you've got Drew Williams and Nick Stockner, 2 Clemson drivers behind them. Williams has had his career has been always the bridesmaid, never the bride for him. He's come up so close so many times. He would really love to get that first win in the next gen cars. And Nick Stockner, how about a good run for him tonight? He's been on the short end of the stick in some incidents this season. What a heck of a run for him tonight. That is going to be a huge confidence boost running into the final half of this season for that 124 car. But even better for him if he could walk away with the win.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I mean, you're seeing on screen here a great battle developing as it looks like the 43 actually was about to bring it down pit road potentially.
Here we go.
Sky Shrek bringing it down pit road for what will likely be the final time here tonight. That Oklahoma machine going to get service done and might kick off this second pit cycle, although I think a lot of drivers are probably thinking about stretching it a little bit farther. You got to imagine probably a little bit closer toward lap 100. Before some of these drivers consider coming in. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's pretty. A nice little scenic cam here on a beautiful virtual evening from Las Vegas Motor Speedway. We've already had a lot of fun so far here from Vegas, and there's still plenty more fun to be had, especially in some of this battling we've been seeing around the track. But how about while we're here, we're admiring the sights, how about we admire the sounds while we're at it? Get a little CIL crank it up action.
riding on board with Nick Stockner, working on lap 92 of 133. As you see, he comes down pit road. The 124 has pulled the trigger. He's decided to come get his final stop of the race and then head back out on track and try to see if he can maybe take a stab at this lead. But everybody else in the top 10 staying out for the time being. I stand corrected. There's Logan Smith, the 34 car, coming down pit road to make his stop.
Yeah, this seems to be where the pit cycle might be truly kicking off for a couple of these guys. Both of those cars were in the top 10 at the time of them coming down pit road. I'd imagine a couple other cars in that top 10 group might be thinking about doing the same before long. Especially now, you've kind of cut that middle stage in half. You've run about 30 to 40 laps on these tires. It's about 40 laps to go to the end, so would not be a bad time to try and do so, as you see Stockner molding back on track there just behind 057 of Halinar. He'll be one of those first cars on fresh tires. We saw him pull this strategy as well during the previous caution, and it worked out pretty well for him. The first car to do so, though, was Sky Shrek in that 43, and you can see they are really moving right now on those fresh tires, pulling away from several cars who have not come down pit road yet. That lap time, 30.037, a big difference maker from some of these cars who have not come down pit road yet, who are running the mid-31s.
And we are approaching the final quarter, the 3/4 mark of tonight's No Luck 200, presented by the Familiar Strange, who are celebrating the release of their debut album. Find it wherever you listen to music. Almost 3/4 of the way through this event once we hit lap 100. So I think, we saw a lot of pit stops start about lap 45 in this event, all the way up until lap 55 and beyond. So some of the cars like Matt Morton, Clint Halterman, who stayed out a lot longer than the rest of the field, I see them coming down pit road about maybe lap 110. But I think we're going to see a lot of drivers come down pit road sooner than later. And here comes Zach DeWale in that green St. Clair machine.
DeWale down pit road, same deal with the 88 of Andrew Stagey. Two more cars that were running in the top 10, bringing it down pit road here. DeWale this is where I think things get really interesting. He's probably, dare I say, had the third fastest car all night. Can he find something on pit road here to try and give him that little extra boost around the 1 or the 077?
And speaking of the 1, he has pulled away to a 4.5 second lead over Clint Halterman. So Halterman going to need to pull some magic on pit road here, or maybe pull the undercut of the century to try and get around that number 1 car.
Well, it's also one of those things where you got to make sure you don't mess up on pit road. While he's been much better at it this season, one of the biggest issues Matt Morton had a season ago was the occasional issue on pit road. It did cost him a couple of times, so we'll see if the Buckeyes pit crew has worked out the issues from last season to get it ready to go this year, as we see another car peeling back onto track here. So green flag pit stops, a whole different level of stress than pitting under yellow. Pitting under yellow, you can gain or lose a lot of spots as far as cars coming on track since everyone's coming at the same time. Pitting under green, though, you lose time and track position, and it feels a lot worse when you do, because, you might have a slightly bad stop and it costs you a position under yellow, and you're like, oh well. You have a slightly bad stop under green, it can cost you like 4 or 5 seconds on track and completely kill your shot at the win.
Well, when you come down pit road, especially at these 1.5-mile tracks, when you come down pit road, you are going to go a lap down to the leader. Unless the leader comes down, in that case, he did. Matthew Morton has come down pit road. Clint Halterman has come in. Drew Williams has come in. Andrew Burrell has come in as well. So a lot of drivers saw the leader come in and elected to do the same, though it doesn't look like Halterman took much of a chunk out of Morton's lead. So this is the money stop. This is the stop where it matters. So unless we see a late race caution, I believe that might have been the race off of pit road for the win.
Potentially, but there is still 34 laps left in this race. There is still a lot of time for things to happen on track. It'll be interesting to see how it develops. Morton obviously will inherit the lead at the end of the pit cycle. The question is, will there be anyone in the zip code to challenge him? The closest challenger, I believe, to him right now will be the 519 of Zach DeWale. He's running a few seconds back right now. but it is closer than the 077 was before the pit cycle. Only 3 cars have yet to come down pit road. It is the 26 of Edward Sanchez, the 7 of Brandon Schulenberger, and the 808 of Dylan Godinez, who currently leads for the Pennsylvania College of Technology. That 808 machine getting a few laps to run out there and going to try and play the long game on the strategy. Hope a caution comes out and traps some of the field behind him.
Yeah, but he's got Matt Morton about 14 and a half seconds behind him, and that lead is going to come down very, very quickly for the 808 to see if he stays out. So he's going to need a caution to come out pretty much exactly when the number 1 car is right on his bumper, which will be in about, say, 10, 15 laps or so.
Rolling into turn 1 there. You see DeWale, you see Stockner, and then you see, who's that? Hallinar back there battling with Halterman. The 077 looking to the inside here of the Binghamton car, diving to that inside in the battle for 7th. The 077 going to be able to clear Hallinar, I believe, off of turn 4. He'll slide up in front of that machine and take away that 7th spot. The charge back to the front continues for the 077. He led the opening 43 laps, and it's been a battle behind the 8 ball ever since. Trying to work his way back up there behind or past a couple more cars. But he's got some work to do if he's going to try and get there. Matt Morton, on the other hand, really starting to cut into that gap of Brandon Schulenberger and Dylan Godinez. And at this point, you got to start wondering, if you're one of those 2 cars, when do you pull the trigger yourself and come down pit road? You can't stay out the entire time. Do you just run it till you get past, run till the fuel cell runs dry? What do you do at this point if you're the 808?
Well, you cannot make it to the end. That fuel tank is only going to last you about 60 laps. So the 808 of Godinez is going to have to come in at some point from now until the end of this race. So I think right now it's all about how far can you stretch it, and then hoping and praying for a caution, which, you know, it's the Flexware College Cup Series. We've seen some wild things happen before. We've seen some drivers win races off of some wild strategy. So Godinez is going to the slot machines right now and really pressing his luck to try and hit the jackpot tonight here at Vegas.
Either way, Dylan Godinez started this race in the 24th position. He rolled off second to last. Currently scored in the lead. He might not be able to hold it for now, but the 808's having a great drive right now. He's doing a really good job just, going about his business and trying to pick up a win any way he can here. It would be a huge shakeup if he can find a way to hold on for the victory, but this is where he's going to come down pit road with about a 10-second gap over Morton, but he has to bring it down pit road here with about 25 laps to go. Matt Morton will inherit the lead, and he is about 3-4 seconds ahead of Zach DeWale, I believe, when it's all said and done. So things looking really good right now for the Ohio State driver. Not a whole lot of traffic in front of him, and only 1 car behind him, and that's a guy who's trying to get back on the lead lap here in Ben Kellner.
Golden hour officially underway here at the No Luck 200 presented by the Familiar Strange. The sun's going down, but the action is turning up, and it's going in the favor of Matthew Morton right now. The best odds in the book at this point in the race. Inside 30 laps to go in tonight's event, and he's looking to be the 4th driver with 2 different wins this season, which would make a 4-way tie at the top of the College Cup Series playoffs, with just 2 races remaining left in the regular season before we crown a regular season champion and cut to our top 10 playoff drivers at Bristol. Producer Christian has told us, for you iRacing faithful out there who are so patiently awaiting the Season 2 release, the official patch notes have dropped on the iRacing forum. So after tonight's race, go and read all about the rain that's about to come to iRacing. And if you are a CIL faithful, stay tuned after the show, because we've got some information for you about a possible weather update to some of our races later on this week.
Well, that'll be certainly something. Hopefully it's not a weather update for the Flexware College Cup Series, though. These cars don't seem to like the rain all that much, especially at an oval like Las Vegas, although the weather looks pretty free and clear for the rest of tonight. Also, just want to give a quick update the driver of the 82, Felix Caprelli, hoping he feels better soon. Apparently, that car done for the rest of the day, or at least for the foreseeable future. He's down 19 laps at the moment. He pulled something in his shoulder during tonight's race, so
no.
trying conditions out there for all of these drivers, and just goes to show, even in iRacing, these cars can be a handful at times. So, wishing a speedy recovery there to the driver of the 82.
We're, of course, going to give you some updates on his condition, but yeah, a lot of these drivers going home for spring break, not able to drag their rigs with them. So on some makeshift rigs at home, and I think he's attributing that to the difference in seating position, which shows you just how much how much these drivers stress and how intense these races are. That just a little ergonomic switch like that can cause you some distress. But don't look now, Alex, but that lead is coming down just a little bit. It was about 3.5 seconds just a few laps ago. So Zach DeWale on a charge to the front of the field right now. But will he have enough time to be able to get A, catch Morton, and B, pass him?
See, that's the real question. I mean, it takes one thing to even close up a gap like that. It's something entirely different to actually get up there and make the pass. So I think part of it may have come from Morton battling the 79 there of Ben Kellner, or Ben Neller. Apologies, I keep wanting to say Kellner. It's Neller. Ben Neller was up there for a while, but he's fallen back a bit from Matt Morton, who's now got some fresh racetrack to work with. And as he comes across the line here, it'll be 20 laps to go from the no luck 200. He's in good shape right now. DeWale just south of 3 seconds back. Halterman about 2 seconds back of DeWale. So the two closest challengers Morton's had most of the day, they are not in the place they need to be right now to really challenge for the win. Although we're starting to get some good battling for third, fourth, and fifth there. Halterman, Stockner, and Hallen are all kind of in the same zip code, duking it out for the back part of the top five.
That lead that Morton's got is hovering.
Here.
That lead that Morton's got is hovering right at about 3 seconds. So I think you were right. He got hung up on that 79 of Neller trying to get around him, and that may have given some grace to DeWale. But yeah, you said it's some drone action over the Neon Garage here, the virtual Neon Garage here at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Beautiful infield complex here that I'm sure our drivers will love to go and experience after the race. But Felix Caporale, in his own words, has been checked and released from the infield care center. So Felix, we wish you all the best and hope that shoulder injury isn't bad.
I mean, this is virtual racing, but real world consequences whenever you're not in the right spot. Sometimes, especially if you have one of those nicer wheels too. I mean, sometimes you get into a wreck, that wheel snaps on you, and you have to pull back real quick to make sure you have all your fingers still attached when it's all said and done. But, I mean, we're looking at this race, 17 laps to go here. That lead has reopened up to nearly 3.5 seconds for Matt Morton. He is in cruise control right now up in the front of the field, but there is definitely still some battling throughout the field. Stockner and Hallen are in the battle for fourth. There's a real good battle there in the 124 and the 057. If we can check in there, they've been slugging it out the past couple laps.
Ricky Paz and Ryan
Stockner,
Whitlock going at it as well as Andrew Stagey and Logan Smith. There's a lot of battles here inside the top 10 with just about 16 working on 15 laps to go in this race.
Yeah, a lot of points still up for grab, especially for a lot of drivers who need every point that they can get. I mean, you see Whitlock here and Schulenberger, two of those drivers who desperately need some points, and they are right now behind the 19 of Ricky Paz. Each position is a point, so definitely going to be hungry to try and get that. If they can get around the 19 here, they'll both get one step closer to making the playoffs in a couple weeks here and having a slightly better finish themselves, as Whitlock has a nose to the inside of Paz here as they go in the one.
Yeah, they're going to be too wide for this position. Ricky Paz trying to hold on to a phenomenal 7th place finish He is. I don't believe he's at risk of falling outside the top 10, but he would love to have both of these positions, especially as that number at the top left of your screen gets smaller and smaller. Here's Ryan Whitlock now with the run to the bottom. Paz is going to have the momentum and the arrow push from the 7 up on the high side. The 81 dives way below the white line to shortcut that distance between turn 4 and turn 1. As the lights have officially come on here at Vegas, we're going to have a finish under the lights for our winner, and it looks like the 19 going to get a huge push from the 7 down the backstretch as he will regain sole control of that P7 position for the time being. But here comes both the 7 and the 81. There's a block from Paz down to Whitlock at the bottom. They're virtual 3 wide here as the 7 tucks back in behind the 19, and these two, Whitlock and Paz, going to go at it again for position. 13 laps remaining in this event.
Whitlock knows that point could be crucial down the line. He's trying to get everything that he can get right now. Paz trying to hold on to that 7th place run. Whitlock again to the inside, going to try and get it to go. Slides up in front of the 19, will take away that 7th place spot. Here comes Brandon Schulenberger as well on the back bumper of Paz. Paz has fallen back to 8th. He's going to try and not fall back to 9th here. Schulenberger might look to the outside. Paz goes up a lane to meet him. Now the 7 going to try and roll that outside just a little bit more. The 19 going to be down on the inside. Did not have the release he was looking for. You see Paz there on the left side of your screen. Schulenberger on the right side. And that 7 machine will roll on by and take away the position. But Ricky Paz still having a great run there in 9th and gave a nice little wave to the camera.
Hey, Ricky. Hey, Brandon. We see y'all.
Good battle in there for 7th, 8th, and 9th. Now Schulenberger going to try and track down the 7th place car of Ryan Whitlock here. Both of these guys really going to try and get each position that they can here in these closing stages. 10 laps to go here from Vegas. The gap up front, pretty hefty, although Clinton Halterman has really closed in on Zach DeWale for 2nd.
This battle for 2nd heating up in the final stages of this race. 9 laps to go once Morton crosses the line. But the 519 under fire from Clint Halterman. Both of these drivers really looking for a good finish in the alumni point standings as well as the overall.
It's the battle for the alumni win.
Yeah, this is also the battle for the alumni win. Zach DeWale, of course, on the outside looking in the playoffs. Clint Halterman on the inside, not necessarily looking out, but every position at this point in the season matters so much for both of these drivers, for both the playoffs to point their way in and in the alumni championship where things are so close as well.
Halterman looks to the outside, now ducks back to the inside here on DeWale. The 077 going to try and run that bottom lane all the way around. That shorter side of the track does not pay a dividend that time around, but he'll slide back in behind the 519. Going to try and see if this is the time going into turns 3 and 4. He'll settle on back, try and set up a run as they make their way around some lap traffic. That is the 79 of Neller to the inside there. They're going to let those two cars continue to battle it out. Halterman right on the back bumper of DeWale. He keeps closing in off of turn 4. And then he gets into 1 and 2 and just doesn't have anywhere to go with that run. Right now, DeWale, a car length ahead. They make their way into 3 and 4. He'll take that middle lane, pushing a lot of dirty air back there to the 077. Halterman just drives right on through it, though, completely unfazed coming off of turn 4. The 077 getting much better exits through 4. He just needs to find a way to complete the pass here in 1 and 2 with all that momentum he carries down the front stretch.
I'm seeing Stockner and Hallinar locked in a good battle right now. 2 more alumni. Man, the alumni have come out to play tonight. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 alumni in the top 10. Those are numbers that I don't think we've seen at any other track or race this season. But lots of jockeying for position among some members, fellow members of the old Farts Club here in the CIL. As Clint Halterman going way down to the bottom, that was a move that took him right alongside the 519 of DeWale. What a great, brilliant attack from Clint Halterman. We're going to see if he can hang on to that position. DeWale is going to have the momentum high and he is going to secure that position once again for the time being. But here comes Halterman once again on that low side as Matthew Morton takes the 5 to go signal from Barney.
Well, it's going to be 4 to go now as they make their way across the stripe. Almost identical there, this battle for second place between DeWale and Halterman. The 077 from UNC Charlotte down on the low side. St. Clair College's 519 machine up high. This battle continues. Halterman continues to pester the inside there, that back corner of the 519. Has not been able to get the run, though, to actually make the pass. Oh, almost maybe a bit of contact there. He's going to have to get way out of the throttle. He'll fall way back, and with 3 laps to go here, Halterman's got some work to do to get back up to the 519.
The 519 went defensive. The 077 made just a little mistake, and the 2 made contact, and that may have ruined this battle for the 077 of Halterman. 2.5 laps now left in this race. Just about 6 miles to go in tonight's 200-mile race. But Halterman may be trying to remount some sort of attack here. 2 to go for these drivers.
Yeah, he's going to have about 1 more opportunity here off of turn 4 to the 1 to go sign to really get a run. That's where his car's been working best. He's going to have to try and maintain pace here off of 2 and then try and set him up for a run going into turn 4 on the final lap. Halterman there on the left side of your screen. He is the chaser. DeWale on the right side of your screen. He is the defender right now as they make their way off of turn 4. They're going to have 1 more attempt at it, but the white flag is in the air, which means Matt Morton, who's currently on the backstretch, is about to bring this one home for his 2nd win of the season.
Matthew Morton in a great position, 9 seconds ahead of Zach DeWale right now to win this race for the time being, but all eyes are on this battle. What is Clint Halterman going to do to Zach DeWale as they enter the final corner? Doesn't look like much of an attack. He's going to drive it deep into the corner. Here comes the run from Halterman. He makes contact with the 519.
Whoa!
He dumps the 519. It goes backwards across the line, and Halterman will still finish 3rd. Zach DeWale in disbelief.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
The 519 over the radio saying that he ran out of gas coming off of turn 4, which is what checked him up. The utter shock there for the 5. We didn't even get to see the leader cross the line, but we did get to see the pinnacle of what it means to be a stock car racer here in the CIL. Just going for it and then losing out in the last second, but we should do our due diligence here and show the burnout here, the celebration for Matt Morton. Oh, we're getting the cars moment here. They're pushing pushing him across the start-finish line.
Oh, he's not pushing him. He's just giving him a little help.
A little bit of bump drafting. All right, well, that will, I believe, get him across the line.
Entire field.
But we should go back here to Matt Morton coming across the line to take up the checkered flag here. We don't want to not show our winner here tonight from the No Luck 200. It was Matt Morton from Ohio State. I mean, great drama for 2nd place, but our victor here tonight, the 1 car from Ohio State, I mean, he just was the class of the field tonight once he took the lead on lap 43. Denver looked back after that, but crazy stuff here on the... I feel like every race, there's something wacky that happens on the final lap, and today it was just so happened to be the battle for 2nd.
What a phenomenal run to the finish for both of those drivers, and it all came just a bit too short for Zach DeWale. He gambled, and he lost it all at the last second, but Matthew Morton took the gamble early on in this race, and it's going to pay dividends as he scores the jackpot in his 2nd win of the season here in the Flexware College Cup Series. And ladies and gentlemen, we now unofficially have a 4-way tie for the regular season championship, and the champion to be crowned in just 2 weeks' time at Bristol before we make the cut to our top 10 playoff drivers.
Crazy stuff. Just everything about that closing sequence is insane. We're going to try and get these guys in the booth here. Technically, our podium finishers were Matt Morton, Drew Williams and Clint Halterman. Although I do think if we have the time, we should also try and talk to Zach DeWale, given that I'm sure he's got a crazy vantage point from his perspective there. So we'll see if we can get him into the booth as well. But we've got our podium interviews coming up in just a moment here.
Let's go ahead and kick those off with the man of the hour. Tonight's winner, Matthew Morton from Ohio State University, picking up his second win on the season. Congratulations, Matt.
Thank you, guys.
Well, welcome back to Victory Lane. It's been a bit of a hiatus there for you and that Buckeye team. Ball State has been the dominant field out there for the past couple weeks, but certainly seemed like you were the dominant one, and no questions about it tonight. I mean, you went and took care of business. I do have to ask you, though, the opening stage of this race, it looked like you really fell back. You were outside of the top 10. And then later in that run, that car really came back to life. Was that you sitting back to try and save some tires, or did you have to change the way you were running to get that speed?
When I fell back really like that, I was honestly trying to save fuel and trying to do a one stop, but unfortunately there wasn't many cars doing it with me, and you really need like 3, maybe 5 cars all fuel saving to make it to the end there. And we were just going so fast because the track was so cool as well, so it was just going to be really hard to save that fuel to make it to, I think the goal was going to be to make it to 67, and I was around 3 laps short, and I kind of just had to say I had to go, and it was going to be an uphill battle because there was about 3 packs broken away, and it was just going to be really hard to pass all those cars. But fortunately, when I was also saving gas, I was being really easy on the tires, and was able to climb through the field and grab the lead before pit cycles, which really helped as well to get that clean air for the second and third run there, and just pull away there at the end.
So this race actually turned out to be more of a resource battle than we thought it was. When did you realize that you were going to be just a little bit short, and for how long did you go in fuel saving mode?
I wasn't really coasting and turning off the car like that. I was kind of just biding my time to see if I could actually fuel save. I kind of coasted and turned the car off a little bit for about 3 laps, and then around lap 15, I just decided it was time to go because I saw the 3 packs that were broken away, and it was just going to be too tough to commit to the one stop. So I just had to change an audible to the 2 stop.
Well, congratulations on your second win this season, Matt. That unofficially locks you into a 4-way tie for the regular season championship on wins. That tiebreaker right now is going to go down to playoff points, which I believe you are going to win that tiebreaker for the time being. So one more question, looking ahead to Bristol, as you make your run for the regular season championship, if you do walk away with that, what is that going to mean for you in your playoffs bid and your run to a second consecutive title?
It would help a lot, having that extra cushion for the playoffs and just having more points than other drivers. But my pace at Bristol isn't too strong. And I don't know if I'm going to have other circumstances that maybe I can't race or stuff like that. I've really trying to been focused on balancing life, school, and work. And fortunately, I should be able to make all 7 spots and keep that playoff spot. But I'm hoping I can show up to Bristol. I referenced it wasn't a strong track for me, so maybe trying to work on my skills there and mix it up there would help there. But yeah, having that cushion winning the playoff or winning the regular season championship would help a lot for the playoffs.
Well, congratulations on tonight's win. You took the gamble and you're walking away with the jackpot. You know the drill. Anybody you'd like to thank or shout out while we've got you here on the show?
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys in the booth and everybody behind the scenes making this show go on. It's awesome to be a part of it. Love competing in it. Representing my university. Like to shout out Duncan O'Connor. Raced last fall. He was on the spotter stand for me tonight and kind of goofing around with me a little bit, but also helping me a lot, letting me know Clint and Zach when they were going to pit and how much time they were gaining or losing to me in the runs. Yeah, that's about it.
Well, congratulations again, and hopefully we'll see you back here in the booth soon.
Thank you guys. Go Bucks.
That was tonight's winner of our No Luck 200 presented by the Familiar Strange, Matthew Morton from Ohio State University. Let's go ahead and talk to our runner-up finisher tonight. We talked to him at the start of the show. We're going to talk to him again. Andrew Williams from Clemson University brings it home second after a barnstormer of a finish in that battle. Take us through your perspective when Halterman and DeWale made contact. Of course, DeWale running out of gas, but take us through that charge up to second there on the last lap.
Yeah, well, I had spent, 20 laps just watching the timer and watching. I kept getting ever a little bit closer. The more they battled, I kept closing in, and I thought on that last lap I was about 1.1 back on the backstretch, and I thought there's no way. Like I'm gonna save gas here and just roll across the finish. And coming off of four, DeWale yelled out on the radio, "Oh my God, I'm gonna run out of gas!" And I even thought then, okay, I'll get DeWale. I didn't expect Clint to turn him, and just the mayhem pulled us a P2. And you know what? We'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, you had quite the day. I mean, you started all the way back outside the top 20, slowly worked your way up to the front. Now you find yourself on the podium here. A great points day. When coming in, you knew that you needed about every point that you could get your hands on. This seems like a pretty successful day, all things considered. You know, plus 20 spots, a nice points haul. Could you ask for much more than that today, or is that just going to be a nice bit of momentum going into Phoenix and Bristol, knowing that you're going to open up a bit of a gap here off that 2-point margin that you had?
No, it's pretty close to all I could ask for. The only thing more is someone to cut the internet to the state of Ohio. That's pretty much all I'm missing at this point. Morton's a demon, and he's just unbeatable. But happy to be best of the rest. Happy to be to get up here.
Well, Drew, congratulations again on that second place finish. That was a massive, massive points boost for you, making your case to point your way into the playoffs at the time being. We talked about at the top of the show how you needed some good results to really put a buffer between you and that cut line, and I think you did exactly that today. What does this momentum look like for you going next week into Phoenix and into the regular season championship race at Bristol?
Well, neither tracks are tracks I consider myself super strong at, but I think I'm looking at who I'm battling in points, and I really think I should have these guys covered for 2 weeks, especially with the gap we built today. So the next 2 weeks are just going to be about maximizing results, not getting in any wrecks, and just bringing home a clean top 10 car for 2 weeks in a row.
Well, congratulations on a phenomenal result again, Drew. No result undeserved. So you know the drill. Anybody you'd like to thank or shout out while we've got you on the show?
Of course, I want to give a huge shout out to Flexware Innovation for sponsoring the series, and to all my Orange Oil Racing guys. We drove a hell of a race today. Should have finished. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, and a huge shout out to Nick Stockner. Nick Stockner P4 in a CIL Cup race. So that's huge for him, and I hope he can carry that momentum forward.
Hey, congratulations again, Drew, and hopefully we'll see you back up here soon.
Yep, hope so.
That was our runner-up finisher tonight, Drew Williams. But let's go ahead and talk to Clint Halterman, who finished third tonight after that phenomenal battle for second gone wrong up until the last corner. Let's just go ahead and cut to the chase. Take us through your side of that incident with DeWale.
It was such a good battle. I hate that we were racing each other so hard, but really clean there. And I think with a couple laps ago, I got tight under him and had to back out, and I was trying to make a late rally, and going into turn 3, I saw I was catching him faster than I thought. So I accidentally, he was slowing down a lot more than I thought he was going to, and I got to his left rear. I hit him a little bit, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna be fine. But then he kept slowing down, and then I eventually just got into him and turned him, and it turns out he ran out of gas coming off 4, which is super unfortunate because it sucks because I hate that I got into him there, and he ran a great race, and we were having a great battle, and he definitely deserved to be on the podium or top 5 at the very least. And I think because I got into him and he spun, he ran out of fuel, ended up down in 13th, yeah. But so that sucks. I definitely did. I tried as hard as I could to not get into him, but with him, just the speed difference with him running out of gas there, that's just kind of, I just ended up turning him there.
Yeah, I mean, it was a tough break there coming off of turn 4, but it was quite the scrap up until then, and even during. I mean, there was contact, but it was a fun battle to watch in those closing laps. We had quite the sight. We also had both of the driver cams up for that battle at the end there as well, so we got to see the reactions in real time, which was wild. But that being said, you qualified on pole, led the opening 43 laps. And then it just seemed like after the pit cycle, both in the first and second time, you were just constantly trying to fight your way back through the field. It never seemed like you cycled out quite to the front. Was that by design tonight, or was it just not the right time that we ran it down pit road?
I definitely thought that going a little bit longer was going to work out more than the undercut because the tires fall off about a second here, but I found more success overcutting a little bit, getting that tire offset and having fresher tires towards the end is kind of what I wanted to do. On that first stint, I just kind of, my strategy was following more in because first off, I was just kind of, vibing in the lead. I don't really know what to do in the lead, and I was trying to lead the race and save tires, and that doesn't go well. I didn't see Morton in my relative, and then I check, he's like 11th or something, 3 seconds behind me. I'm like, okay, maybe he had an issue or something. And then like 10 laps later, he's second, and I checked, I have like race labs up, and he's half a second faster than me. So he's just, I don't know what he's doing with his tire saving, but it's crazy. So yeah, I basically was just like, okay, I'm gonna just try to follow Morton here, because I knew my probably my long run speed compared to him wasn't gonna be enough, and I didn't quite get off pit road the best on that first 10, so I had to battle through some cars there, and then I got caught up and I was right behind Morton, trying to take the lead, and then I ended up burning my stuff up again. So it was tough. Just I was trying to. I guess my strategy was definitely like I wanted to pit later than other guys because I wanted the tire advantage on the back side of the run compared to the front side there. But I kind of, I mean, I following Morton through the first 2 stints there at the end of the runs, he's like 3 to 5 tenths faster than me. So it was pretty. I didn't really think I had much of a shot there, so I was just going to try and follow Morton, and then also just kind of do the same thing that Zach and Andrew were doing, who were the guys I was racing there. So, and then probably got caught up in a little bit more traffic than I wanted to, but it worked out in that last stint because I was able to run down Zach, who was like 2 seconds in front of me at that point. So the fresher tires helped at that point.
Well, Clint, that was a solid finish for you inside the top 3, which is definitely going to help out your case in pointing your way into the playoffs. You were 3 points behind DeWale for that top non-win spot coming into tonight's race. You definitely have overtaken him for that last spot, so that'll put you about 25 points to the good going into the last 2 races of the season. What does that mean for you as Bristol in the regular season championship cutoff race comes up ever so quickly?
It's great. I want as many points as I can before I get to Bristol because I think I've said it a few times, not a big fan of Bristol. And we all know how crazy Bristol can get. So if I could go into Bristol and have a solid points gap, or even if I can somehow get a win next week at Phoenix, that just makes my life a whole lot easier. But definitely just going to be prioritizing getting as many points at Phoenix, and then hopefully when I go to Bristol, either I'm locked in or just have a comfortable gap to where I can just kind of kind of play it safe and just kind of ride out and let the chaos around me unfold and hopefully squeak through it.
Well, congratulations on another top 3 finish tonight. You know the drill. Anybody you'd like to thank or shout out while we've got you here on the show?
Yeah, I'd just like to thank my friends and family as always. I want to shout Zach there because that was a really fun battle, and I hate that it ended like that. But it's always good to race against Zach. I know he's gonna race me clean and race me hard. So that was a super fun battle. And thanks to y'all once again for putting on the show every Monday night.
Yep. Thanks for joining us up here in the booth, and hopefully we'll see you again here soon.
All right, thanks guys.
That was Clint Halterman, our 3rd place finisher tonight. Let's go ahead and do a special interview. Let's talk to the other side of that incident. Zach DeWale running 2nd on that last lap up until the very end. The contact with Clint Halterman sending you tumbling down the order. Take us through your perspective on what happened there.
Yeah. It's real simple. Didn't have no gas in it.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it. I mean, oh, it's a kick in the pants because we ran really good. Just saved all race the first 2 stints, and it based my second stop number on how much fuel I used before, I guess, and I didn't put enough extra fuel on it, and it sputtered in the middle of 3 and 4. And I was like, oh, you've got to be kidding me. I didn't really realize what was happening until I was sideways. So I thought the motor's blowing or something. I was like, I just gotta do what I can here. Really, I should have just let it coast, but no, I should have put more fuel in it. But yeah, I feel bad for Clint because I kind of cost him second with my blocking and put him in a bad spot. But man, it's disappointing.
Yeah, I was gonna say we had not only that battle up at the end, but both of your driver cams up, so we saw the
Oh, good.
reaction in real time,
Yeah.
which was a crazy poll from producer Christian, but also we got to see the sheer disbelief in real time. And obviously you don't get the finish that you deserve here tonight. You ran in the top 3 all night, gonna have to settle outside the top 10. Any concerns point-wise moving into the last 2 races of the year, knowing that there's about 10 points or so that may have just evaporated off the table?
Well, now knowing there's only 2 races left, yeah, I always forget that we have not 36 races. We only got like 14.
I'm sorry to
Yeah.
start inducing anxiety. after the race.
No. Yeah, I mean, all we can do now is just try and go out and win. I don't know what the points picture is. I haven't really been looking. I've just kind of been going on, just go out and run as good as I can. Haven't looked at it at all. So all I can hope for is some good races in the coming couple of weeks, and maybe I won't wear a hat next time. I wore a hat this week, and I think that's what did me in.
Uh-oh.
So that hat's gone next week.
Well, hats off to you for a phenomenal race driven all day. I'm so sorry for that pun. That was awful.
No, I walked into it. You good?
Yeah, just a great race all day for you that unfortunately came done in the last corner, but a big boost of momentum for you, we know, in the last couple of races of the regular season. Just to let you know, you did lose. There is a good chance you have lost out on that first points transfer spot into the playoffs, but you still have a very, very sizable margin between you and the cutoff position. So no stress for you there. You're still more than a few points to the good for our cutoff race at Bristol. But is there anything that you can do from here to then to really solidify your spot in the playoffs?
Put gas in the car is the first thing.
Lessons learned.
Yeah, lessons learned there. We'll fill it up next time. And just keep my nose clean, stay out of trouble. That's all I can do. We were in a good spot. I know I got the speed to do it. It's just it's just figuring out how to close out these races has been my problem this season. I know I've had the speed. I know I can hang with these guys. I just have to get the confidence back. Kind of lost it over the last couple seasons, but I know I've still got it. So just gotta find the pace, find the tire save, and find that damn fuel can wherever I put it.
Might be up in the attic somewhere.
Yeah, out there. We'll see. I'll go looking after you're done here.
Well, always the sense of humor, even after a disappointing finish like that, but still a great race for you. Congratulations again on your phenomenal race here today, and hopefully we'll see you sometime. Oh, hopefully we'll see you back here in the booth soon.
Yeah, that's the hope, man. I might need it.
That was Zach DeWale running up inside the top 3 up until the very last corner when he ran out of gas, made contact with Clint Halterman, relegated Halterman to 3rd, and Zach ultimately finishing P13 on the grid. But man, what a great race from start to finish. And according to the old Stockner Sportsbook, that is the first flag-to-flag race that we have had in the College Cup Series since the championship race in season 8 when Andrew Williams won the Throwback Cup Series championship. So it's been almost an entire year since we have had a full green to checkered race here in the College Cup Series.
Yeah, and good time for it, eh? It was a fun one here tonight. Producer Christian, you said you had one more replay to show with everyone who's still hanging around for the CIL after hours here. This is the final corner between 2nd and 3rd, and right around here is where the 519 starts running out of gas, and you can see the 77 just close in immediately. A little bit of contact there on the left rear, and then just couldn't stay off him, and he goes spinning. And with no fuel, I mean, that's just a helpless place to be if you're the 519. So close to that start-finish line, but with no gas, what are you going to do, right?
Well, the first thing you're going to do is hold that clutch in and pray you can roll to the line. But as we saw just a few moments later, pretty much half the field coming to pull a Lightning McQueen and the King from cars and push him that extra, what was that, probably 50, 100 feet across the finish line.
Really shows that a lot of people are behind the 519 here trying to make sure he can at least finish the race. He'll get credited with finishing 13th tonight. So you got Sanchez, you've got Burl. They all pull in to try and give him a boost. Nice shot there from the 26, and the 121 and the 124 are going to jump in to help as well.
The 19 of Paz was involved in there as well. Here comes the 81 of Whitlock. Man, everybody from the field coming out to show their support and push that 519 across the line. And this guy Shrek decides she's going to have some fun and goes bowling. But yeah, Alex, what a phenomenal race tonight. We saw battles all throughout the field. The opening stint of this race was incredible. I mean, there was door-to-door racing like I don't think we've seen all season, but that's just the product of racing that Vegas puts on. That's why these drivers love this track, is just the racing that it puts on, especially when the sun goes down and makes for some beautiful, beautiful scenes here in the Flexware College Cup Series.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we had, I would say we had quite a bit of fun tonight. Also saw a couple of things you don't really see all that often. So there, a little bit of everything tonight here, whether it's, passes for the lead, some green flag. The only thing we actually didn't see really was a yellow flag. We did see one wreck, Trevor Rizzo, into the wall hard in the middle of this race, but it didn't bring out the yellow. But yeah, otherwise, a little bit of everything tonight, and it ends with a car running out of fuel off of 4 and nearly bottling up the guy he was racing for most of that race.
Well, as we're wrapping up this race, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our final unofficial results here from the No Luck 200 presented by the Familiar Strange. Alex, take it away.
You betcha. So Matt Morton brings it home tonight with the victory for Ohio State. Dominating fashion, took the lead on lap 43 and didn't look back. Drew Williams will be the benefactor of that incident between Halterman and DeWale, and he'll jump up in the second. Halterman holds on for third. Stockner brings it home fourth. A great run for him. Will put 2 Clemson cars in the top 4 and 3 in the top 10 if you count Jake Hall down there in 10th. But Alex Hallinar from Binghamton, solid run tonight, brings it home 5th. Ryan Whitlock in 6th there for the University of Alabama Huntsville. Ricky Paz in 7th for Valparaiso. Andrew Stagey in 8th for Ball State, the highest finishing Cardinal machine here tonight. And Logan Smith, a really strong 9th place finish there for Auburn. And Jake Hall, as previously mentioned, brings it home in 10th place tonight for Clemson. 3 of those Clemson Tiger machines in the top 10.
Yeah, Clemson had the momentum tonight in place of Ball State. Sky Schreck for Oklahoma University, she'll finish P11. Jason Wallet finishes 12th for Drexel University. Zach DeWale will finish as the first car 1 lap down after running out of gas in turn 4 on the last lap. Dylan Godinez finishes P14 for the Pennsylvania College of Technology. Timothy Wilms, P15, Drexel University. Andrew Burrell, P16 for Clemson. Ben Neller will finish 17th for Ball State University. 18th goes to Brandon Schulenberger for Wingate University. He had a phenomenal opening stint to the race. Good to see him running inside the top 5 for a significant portion of tonight's event. The 26th of Edward Sanchez finishes 19th for Baruch College, and 20th goes to Lucas Moody from Ball State University. Rounding out the rest of the field.
You got it, yeah.
All right. Landon Velicky from Auburn University finishes 21st. 22nd goes to Edwin Onofre from UNT. Charles Wembley, P23 for Guilford College. Felix Caporale sustaining that shoulder injury during the event. Wish him all the best. He finishes P24 for ECU. And Trevor Rizzo, after a hard crash about halfway through the race, will finish P25. And that is going to do it for tonight's finishing order. For tonight's No Luck 200 presented by the Familiar Strange. And folks, I'm getting some word from producer Christian that we have a bit of breaking news from iRacing Race Control all the way up at the headquarters. We ourselves have named the pace car driver Benny.
Yeah.
Which, Barney is the flag man, so it would make sense for Benny to be the pace car driver. Well, in the most recent patch notes released just tonight by iRacing, the pace car driver now officially has a name, and straight out of the Flintstones, we want to welcome to the iRacing grid Fred, the pace car driver.
Whoa, it's Fred.
Hey.
Hello, Fred.
So, everyone say hello to Fred. We are so glad to have him on the service, and we'll be sure to see him out on track more than a few more times over the course of this event. But the checkered flag has flown, and Matthew Morton and Ohio State have hit the jackpot in Vegas and are now sharing a 4-way tie for the lead as the end of the regular season looms ever closer. And as the pressure mounts for the playoffs in just 2 weeks' time, we'll be getting ready to crown a regular season champion and cut to our top 10 playoff drivers. There's still 6 spots left for drivers to potentially point their way in. So many of them are on the bubble with a shot to do exactly that, or even secure their first win of the season and lock themselves in. The penultimate round of the regular season kicks off next Monday night at 8:30 Eastern as we go live from Phoenix Raceway for the Leg Dog 150 presented by none other than Alex's school, Robert Morris University. The Ignition Zone pre-race show starts at 8:30 Eastern with on-track action beginning at 8:50 live here on CIL Vision. And if you can't wait for more CIL action, it's the start of our American swing in CIL Formula C. For the second time in that series, we're going down south to visit the Circuit of the Americas, possibly the hardest track on the calendar, but the most rewarding when it comes to on-track action. Ball State and R. Muhammad Alif have already have one hand on the Formula C championship trophy, but the battle for the remaining podium positions and even throughout the top 10 are definitely heating up. So be sure you don't miss out on our CIL Formula C United States Grand Prix starting at 8:45 Eastern this Wednesday night right here on CIL Vision. And the action continues on Thursday night as the Collegiate Prototype Challenge takes to the fastest race of the year, our Grand Prix at the Glen from Watkins Glen International. R. Muhammad Alif is doing everything he can to bring an end to Jordan Johnson's unprecedented dominance in this series, 7 for 7 in wins, and what could be the start of a historic CIL campaign in the inaugural prototype season. Can Johnson continue his perfect season, or will maybe the rain in the forecast throw some unforeseen slips and spills into our drivers' plans? So ladies and gentlemen, be sure that you catch all of the action from the first ever rain race in CIL history. This Thursday night, the Grand Prix at the Glen, 8:45 Eastern, live here on CIL Vision. It's going to be entertaining. Don't miss it, because we're going to have a lot of fun here in the booth. And I believe that is going to do it for all of us tonight. So on behalf of myself, co-commentator Alex, producers Christian and John, and all of us here at the CIL, we'd like to thank you for tuning in to tonight's No Luck 200 presented by the Familiar Strange. And until next time, stay fast.
Seats used to be different colors, but now this fog in my brain makes it so dead. Don't really care which part you play, as long as it's not mine. Help me out somehow. Hold on, new, I don't care how. Just switch me up. 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 Coughing up my thoughts into an icicle. I look inside and see that I'm just cold. Well, I could ride all day on my bicycle, pretending I was in control. So many different parts to play. It changes over time. Not really sure which one I prefer. I don't wanna know. Just switch it up. I went from sucking my thumb to a popsicle, looking out the window from the back of the car. But these days I'm just so cynical. What else is there to do but lay down the guitar? I found another part to play. Not sure if it's mine, but every now and then, here and now, I don't care how. Just switch it up. Just switch it up. Just switch it up. Just switch it up. Switch it up.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.